I came across a woman in her 30s, and she has a young child, and they live in her mother's home. And maybe I could relate to what she was going through. She lives in her mother's home, and her mother's a drug addict. And the problem with the environment that her and her daughter are in is that when you have a parent that has an addiction, they keep certain company. The house isn't always kept the way that you would expect for them to keep it. You run into their financial issues, which then become your financial issues. And one of the issues this woman was speaking to was the fact that her child does not respect her. Now, immediately my thought was, okay, so is she disrespectful? Is she cussing you out? How's this working? And she was like, she hasn't gotten to the point where she's cursing me out, but she is to the point where she doesn't respect the things that I tell her to do. She doesn't respect my decisions. She talks back a lot. Here's what I want to give parents, because I struggle with this with my own kids. Your children identify that which you seem to be naive to. They're a lot more mature than we want to give them credit for, and oftentimes they see a better way for you all than what you want to see in that instant. And what the mother was basically saying is that I don't have the money, I can't afford to get us a place, blah, blah, blah. And I'm already knowing, because I dealt with this with my own children, the child is looking at it like, I don't care where we go as long as it's ours and we're out of here. Now, what I had to help her to understand is that her daughter, when she's talking back to her, she's talking to her as if she is the child. And she's taking ownership of being the adult because she doesn't see an adult in you or your mother. Your mother because of her lifestyle, and you because she feels as though there is a way out of this. You're choosing not to take it. Now, another part of this conversation is, as a parent, if you have your child in an environment and you know that that is not the environment you would prefer to raise your child in, and you know that you are making excuses as to why you are there, I need you to ask yourself why you're not good enough to be in a better position. Because sometimes we get comfortable in environments that we may see as tolerable. It does not mean that it is tolerable for our children. And so what I was coming to understand, just listening to this woman about her child, is that her child is very smart. Let's start there. I'm not taking anything away from this child. Regardless of this environment, this child has been a straight A student. The problem is that this child is probably thinking beyond the parent's comprehension. Understand what I'm saying? Sometimes when we're in an environment and we're making excuses as to why we cannot get out, our children are already planning on how we can. I'm just saying, that may not hit home with a lot of people, but somebody is going to hit home for. Now, you have those young adults that are living in environments that they cannot seem to get out of. You may have come up pregnant, you don't have a job, and now all of a sudden you can't get out of the place that you're living in, and all hell has broke loose. Let me explain to you what that hell actually looks like for those of you who may not be grasping what I'm saying. You're living in someone else's home. You have your own children, and you're abiding by someone else's rules for you and your child. Understand what I'm saying? Because when you're a parent, most times you've spent more time with that child than the people that you're living with. So oftentimes you're aware of your child's eating habits, your child's needs, but now your needs, your habits are based on what this person is saying is your needs and habits for you and your child. This may be a teenager who living in their parents' home with their child, and their parents have gotten strict on them because they had a child. This may be somebody who's living in a home where there's a whole lot of people living in that one house, and you don't see no way out. When you get to a point where the place that you live has you suicidal, understand what I'm saying, because there are different levels to a war in a home. You may be living with a mother that you just don't get along with at all. There is a reason for that. And your mother may not want to deal with the reason for it. A lot of times what I'm running into is that there's a generation out here that does not address conflict, especially the conflict that comes with that of their children. We've got to do better. It is nobody's fault when children come into the world. They're supposed to be a blessing. I want the youth and the young adults to hear me and hear me good, because I know I said this in another video, but I'm going to say it here again. Your parents cannot give you nor teach you what they were not given nor taught. I mean that from the bottom of my soul. If you want out of that hell that you are in, number one, suicide is not the way to go. You can attempt it and you can fail. And when you wake up, y'all hear what I'm saying. If y'all didn't watch my other videos, you knew that in my video, No Desire to Fight, I tried it. And I woke up. Now, it was evident that I tried it, but I still woke up. When you wake up, the problem is still there. And oftentimes, when we contemplate suicide, it's because we think that there is no way out. There is a way out. A lot of people don't believe that you can pray your way up out of a situation. I feel like they're lying. That's just my opinion. There is a way out. And I say that there is power in prayer because my prayers created a movement in me. I don't know how that works. I'm not sure of the connectivity, but my prayers, the more I prayed, the more I felt as though I could do it. It's an uphill battle. If you in a downhill valley and you stay downhill all the time, you're going to have to figure out a way to find the materials, the people, whatever it is you need to start an upward climb. You have to build what it is that you need internally in order to start the climb. I'm here to tell someone today, you can get out of that house. If that house is something you're fighting in day after day, if that house has caused you to struggle, if that house has caused you to be suicidal at times, you can come out of that environment. I promise you, you can. You're going to have to want to climb though. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. But I'm here to tell you right here, right now, for those of you who are in an environment that you want out of, for those of you who have children who are disrespecting you because you have not brought them out of what they're disliking about this environment that they are in, I encourage you today to get on your knees, give it to God, and start your climb. I will see you all next video.